right, so if we look at number 1, right, we've got x's and y's in this problem. So when I look at this problem, I think I've got 2 angles that have an x and only 1 angle that has a y. So let's look at our x's first. So x plus 76 is this angle here. And then 3x minus 30 is this angle here. So if we look, notice how they're across from each other, which means that they're vertical angles, and vertical angles are equal. So we're going to say that x plus 76 equals 3x minus 30. So now that we have our equation set up, we have to get all of our x's to the same side. So we could subtract this x to the other side, which gives us 76 equals 2x minus 30. Then we're going to have to move our 30 over by using addition, which gives us 106 equals 2x. Then divide by 2 on each side, and we end up with x equals 53. Okay, so now that we have x equals 53, let's look at our other angles. So now if we looked at this x plus 76 and y, they're not they're not across from each other like the other two were. They're together making this straight line here. And whenever we have a straight line, whenever we have 2 angles that make a line, they're a linear pair, which means they add to 180. So we've got x plus 76 plus y equals 180. Because they're next to each other, they're a linear pair, so they equal 180. Okay, well, we also know now that x is 53, so I can replace x with 53. Now I can solve for y. So 53 plus 76 gives us 129 plus y equals 180. And then we have to move the 129 to the other side, which gives us y equals 51. So remember, across are vertical angles, which means equal, and then next to is a linear pair, which means they add to 180. Okay, if we look at number 2, we've got x squared plus 6x, and then 2x plus 12. So once again, those are across from each other, so those are vertical, which means that they're equal. So we have x squared plus 6x equals 2x plus 12. Now, whenever we see this x squared here in our heads, we should think, oh no, I'm going to have to factor. And whenever we factor, it has to equal 0. So our first step here is that I need to move these to the other side. So if I want to move the 2x, I'm going to have to use subtraction to move it to the other side. So then we have x squared plus 4x equals 12. Well, it doesn't equal 0 yet, so now we have to move the 12 by using subtraction. Now remember, these cannot combine because this has an x and the 12 does not. So we have x squared plus 4x minus 12 equals 0. So now that we're at this point, we can say, figure out what are we multiplying to and what are we adding to. Okay, so remember, we multiply to a times c. So 1 times c would be negative 12, and we're adding to b. So we have to figure out what numbers multiply to negative 12 and add to 4. Okay, so those two numbers would be 6 and negative 2. 6 times negative 2 gives us negative 12, and 6 plus negative 2 gives us 4. Okay, so now that we've gotten this far, because a is 1, we can use our shortcut. So we can say x plus 6, x minus 2 equals 0. Plus 6 minus 2. Now we can set each of these equal to 0. And then solve. Move the 6 over by subtracting. Move the 2 over by adding. Okay, so we've got x is negative 6. And x equals 2. Now remember, we have to double check our answers. So now we're going to have to go up here and we're going to have to check. So we're going to have to do 2 times x plus 12, because this is 2x plus 12. 2 times x plus 12. And we're going to use our two answers that we just got. So the answers that we just got were -6 and +2. So 2 times -6 plus 12 gives us 0. An angle can't be 0, which means our answer cannot be -6. Now if I plug in 2, 2 times 2 gives us 4, and 4 plus 12 gives us 16. That's a positive angle, so that works. So x equals 2 works. So our final answer is x equals 2. Even though we got x equals -6, that gave us an angle of 0, and we can't have a 0 measure, so we had to cross that one out and only answer 2. Okay, let's jump down to number 4. So in number 4, it says to find the value of a and b so that FC is, remember what this means? This means perpendicular to AB, and whenever we see the word perpendicular, we should think makes 90 degrees. So we've got two things here. We've got angle A and we have angle B. Okay, we're going to solve them separately. So let's just look at A. I want this angle here to make a 90-degree angle. So we've got 12A plus 42 equals 90. Okay, now we want both of these angles combined to be 90 degrees. So if I want to combine them to be 90, then that means we have to add them to be 90. So 2B and 3B together make 90. Okay, now we're going to use our algebra. So subtract the 42. Divide by the 12. You get A is 4. Combine like terms, 3B and 2B make 5B. And divide by the 5. And we get B is 18. Okay, let's look at number 6. So in number 6, we have the supplement of an angle. So remember, supplement means supplementary, and supplementary means they add to 180. So we've got two angles here that are adding to be 180 degrees. Now remember, we always name one of the angles x, and then the other angle is 6 less, so 6 less would be -6, then twice the angle. So twice would mean 2 times, so 2x. So 6 less than twice. But remember, don't forget this other angle we call x. So we've got x plus 2x gives us 3x minus 6 equals 180. Move your 6 over. Divide by 3. We get x equals 62. Now it wants us to find the smaller angle and the bigger angle. Okay, in order to do that, remember our two angles are x and 2x minus 6. So let's plug in the x. So if I plug in x here, I get 62. Done. If I plug x in here, I've got 2 times 62 minus 6. So 2 times 62 minus 6 gives us 118. So the smaller of these two is 62, and the larger is 118. Now remember, these should add to 180. If these don't add to 180, then we know we did something wrong. So let's double check. 118 plus 62 does give us 180, so we know we did the problem correct. Okay, now in this problem it tells us that KN bisects, so it's not KN, LN, sorry. So L to N bisects the angle KNM. So that makes this angle and this angle equal, right? That's what bisects mean. Then it tells us that LNM, so this angle here is 3x plus 2, and KNL is this angle 2x plus 8. Now because it said bisects, that makes this angle and this angle equal, so that's exactly what we're going to do. 2x plus 8 equals 3x plus 2. And then we're going to use our algebra and solve. So get all of our x's to the same side. Get our 2 to the other side. We get x equals 6. Okay, now it also wanted us to find k and l. Well, k and l is equal to k and l, 2x plus 8. And we know that x is 6. So 2 times 6 plus 8 gives us 20 degrees. Okay. So that was bisects, and we gave you each of the little ones. So because this little one and this little one were bisecting, then that makes them equal. Okay, compared to number 8, we've got another bisects here, but this problem is going to be a little different. So it says that angle AXC, so A to X to C, is bisected by K to B. So that makes this one and this one equal. Okay, then it tells us that A to X to C is 10x plus 56, so A to X to C. So this whole angle, not just the little one, but this whole angle is 10x minus 56. And then AXB, so the small one here, is 2x plus 5. So we can't do what we did in the last problem and say that these two are equal, because this is a small angle and this is a big angle. So I can't say that this and this equal. I can say that this and this are equal. So if this is 2x plus 5, then I know this is 2x plus 5. And then I know that these two combined give me the big angle. So whenever we combine two things, we use addition. So we've got 2x plus 5 plus 2x plus 5 equals the big angle, 10x minus 56. Now combine your like terms. So 2x and 2x make 4x, 5 and 5 make 10. Get all of your x's to the same side. Move your 56 over. Remember, if I'm going too fast, you can always pause it. And finally, divide by 6, and we get x equals 11. Then once again, we want AXC, and AXC is equal to 10x minus 56, and we know that x is 11. We get 54. All right, so now we've got our parallel lines and a transversal. So in this problem here, once again, kind of like we did in number 1, ask yourself, do we have more x's or do we have more y's? Okay, and in this problem we have more x's. So we've got 8x minus 10, which is this angle here, and then 7x, which is this angle here. So notice that those two angles are on opposite sides of our line. One's on the left, one's on the right, and they're both inside. So those are alternate interior angles, which means that they are equal. So we're going to say 8x minus 10 equals 7x. Then we're going to solve. So move all of our x's to the same side. Divide by -1. And we get x equals 10. Now that we know x, we can solve y. So if we look here, 6y plus 20 and 7x are together making a line. So that means that they are supplementary. They're a linear pair. So 6y plus 20 plus 7x equals 180 because they make a linear pair. And we know that x is 10. So now I can replace x with 10. And solve. 7 times 10 gives us 70. Add your like terms. Remember, if I'm going too fast, pause it and try it on your own. So we end up with y is 15. Okay, so alternate interiors are equal, linear pair is supplementary. Now you could have also done these two angles. Now 8x minus 10 and 6y plus 20 are same side interior, which means they would be supplementary. So you could have said 8x minus 10 plus 6y plus 20 equals 180, and you still would have gotten y is 15. So either of those would have worked as well. So number 11 is kind of similar. So if we look at number 11, it tells us that angle 7 here is x squared plus 6x, and then angle 9 is x plus 6, and then angle 12 is y plus 35, but that's a y, so let's not do that one first. Let's do these two x's. So we know that these two angles here are alternate interior, right? If I ignore these, we've got one on the bottom, one on the top, and then they're inside of the parallel lines. So that makes them equal. So we've got x squared plus 6x is equal to x plus 6. So now that I know they're equal, and this is an x squared, I'm going to have to factor again. So we're going to have to subtract the x. Doesn't equal 0 yet, so we're going to have to subtract the 6. Remember, these can't combine because they're not like terms. Now set up, what are we multiplying to? What are we adding to? A times C is going to give us -6, and B is 5. So the numbers that multiply to -6 and add to 5 are 6 and -1. So now we can go straight to our factors. X plus 6, x minus 1. Set each of them equal to 0, and then solve. Now remember, just like the other factoring one we did, we're going to have to plug them in and see which one doesn't work. Okay, so if we plug them into x plus 6, that would give us x plus 6. So we're going to plug in -6 and +1. -6 and -6 would give us 0. We can't have an angle of 0. 1 plus 6 gives us 7. That works. So x is 1. So that's a lot of work, and all we found so far is x. So now we have to continue our hard work and find y. So y tells us up here that angle 12 is y plus 35. So if we look here, once again, these two angles, 9 and 12, are next to each other and creating a line, which means they're a linear pair, which means that they are supplementary. So 12, which is y plus 35, plus angle 9, which is x plus 6, are a linear pair, which means they make 180 degrees. And we know x is 1. Combine your like terms. You've got y plus 42 equals 180. Subtract your 42. You get y is 138. All right, in the next problem here, it wants us to prove which angles, these angles make what lines parallel. Okay, so we've got angle 1 and angle 2. So angle 1 and angle 2 are these two angles here. So we have to figure out which line could I cover up and I would not cover up 1 or 2. So if I use this marker here to help me, if I cover up angle R, then 1 is gone. If I cover up line S, then 2 is gone. If I cover up U, then both of them are gone. However, if I cover up angle V, 1 and 2 are visible. Okay, so that makes angle R parallel to, not angle R, excuse me, line R parallel to line S. Now, it doesn't make sense to say S and T because T, remember, can't be parallel to S because they cross. So we're not going to use T at all. Our two options here is R is parallel to S or U is parallel to V. Okay, so in this problem, we're going to say R is parallel to S because I got rid of line V. So if I got rid of line V, then that can't be an option. So it's R and S. Okay, now 1 is on the top left, 2 is on the top left, so they are in corresponding parts. So our reason is that they are corresponding angles. Okay, 2 and 9. So if we look here, if we look at angle 2 and angle 9, what could I cover up? Well, if I cover up R, 2 and 9 are still visible. So if my options are R and S or U and V, if I got rid of R, then that only leaves me with U and V as my answer. So U is parallel to V. Now 2 is on the left, R is on the right. Remember, that's meaning opposite of this line. One's on the left, one's on the right, and they're outside of our parallel lines, which means they're alternate interior. Okay, now I'd like you to go back and do all the problems that I skipped.